and had me thinking about what was that? What do you mean who I am? So I'm gonna review those questions again for this Friday morning planning session, right? I'm gonna review them again. And because when we come here, this is a really important topic for you to start thinking about so you could start showing up authentically in your planning. And when you sit and you do your weekly planning and you answer these questions, it's going to help you understand, what is that power word that I need in my foundation? How do I want my week to show up? How do I want to show up in my week? What do I want? Who do I want to surround myself with? Okay? So remember, be grounded with who you are. So we're going to talk about authenticity today and how it saves us time and energy. Now, before we get started, I wanted to share my mug. And my mug of the week is my Jeep mug. And actually, it's not my mug. It's a good friend of ours. Quite a few years ago, people would come over and they would bring their own coffee mugs because, as you know, I like to collect mugs. And they're like, hey, wait a minute, why can't I have my own mug when I come to your house? So they started bringing their own mugs. And I saw this one in the cabinet and it just opened my heart to such amazing memories that we had when people were doing that. So we really like to be authentic in our home and welcome people and make them feel comfortable and have them be who they are. So today is the Jeep mug, and this goes to a shout out to Jeffrey. So thank you for leaving this mug here, and it warmed my heart. And as we go through this process today, and I start talking with you more about these questions that I want you to think of, and where you're going to show up, will help you move forward with that planning, okay? So questions that I'm gonna ask, and I'm gonna put them in the I form. So when you listen to this recording, or if you're on the Facebook Live, you could understand and you could say it back to yourself, because that's really important to be in the first person. So how do I react to people? How do I treat myself? How do I treat my body? Who do I spend time with? What do I do in my spare time? What are my thoughts? And this question was the big question. Who are you? Who am I? Who am I really? That question was asked to me at a business retreat. And the gentleman came up to me and he asked me that question. And honestly, I didn't know how to answer it, like I said. And it really gave me some deep thinking. And it actually, with that question, it helped me ground myself this week with my power word, which was authentic, to show up authentic. And so the exercises that I used throughout the week and the nuggets that I posted all circled back around on being authentic. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how powerful it is when we know who we are and how we're showing up, and how it affects our life when we don't, and what results we get when we do, okay? So aligning yourself with your true north. What is that path? What is that purpose? I know, and purpose is overused sometimes, that word, and it's hard because what do you mean, what's my purpose? My purpose is to get up every day, go to work, run my business, be a mom, do this, do that. But no, what is your true purpose? What is that true north that energizes you to move forward in your planning process? That's what I want you to think about. It's so much easier just to show up, people think, right? So if you're just showing up and not being who you really are, what energy does that take to continue to keep that up? And why do you think we wear different masks? Why do you think we show up differently in different places? When if we were just who we are all the time, and people would own it or not own it, but the most important thing was that you owned it, how much more energy would be not wasted by doing that? And how much more fearful would you not be? Like being in the sense of fear because you have to walk in the room. When you know who you are and own it with confidence and no guilt, the sky's the limit. And it's not that you're going to get that. It's not that you're not going to get nervous around certain things because you probably would if that's your personality style. But what ends up happening is you get to push through it easier because you know you can. Okay. So, what does authentic mean to you? Another big question, right? What does it mean to you? Just in general, not with you, but what do you think it means? Authentic to me means being genuine, not putting on any airs, being who you really are, and not apologizing for it. Showing up in a room with a smile. That is what being authentic is. Hi, Kathy. Kathy just joined us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're talking about authenticity and how when we find that true north, what that means and how wonderful we feel and when we are authentic and we're showing up that way and how difficult it may be sometimes. So the 3 tips that I wanted to go over were to align with your authenticity. Well, the first one is circumstances. They're like a web, right? Circumstances just kind of weave in, and when we're in that circumstance, it's hard for us to be who we really are because we're being drawn by the drama of the different areas. So when we look at ourselves with growing awareness around the circumstances, and we could sort out what the untruth is in that circumstance and ask yourself this question, does this serve me? And if the answer is no, then you need to take a step back, breathe, and figure out how to unweave yourself from that circumstance. Not saying it's going to be easy, okay? But it will be worth it in the long run by putting that energy in. When you're feeling uncomfortable, that's where you're growing. So, as I said, I was at a business retreat last weekend. I can't believe it's a week already. And I'd never been in that type of situation where I was in a hot seat and talking about my business model and talking about me and being authentic and being in front of the room. I speak, but being in front of the room about me. I had to be authentic and show up, because if I wasn't authentic and showing up, then I wasn't going to get what I needed out of that, because they weren't going to see who I really was. So I had to weave myself into a place that I had to be in my true north. It was uncomfortable, but I have to tell you, it was absolutely amazing after I did that. I was so true about who I was and what was on my heart that I was actually closer after my presentation with the people in the room. So I felt uncomfortable, but it truly brought me to the next level in myself as a person and inside my business. So it goes to number 2. The second tip is take that mask off. So I could have walked into that room and I could have just been like, I got this all together. Look at me, right? And even in my coaching style, when I'm working with my clients, I'm authentic. I share stories about what I've gone through. and help them understand that just because I'm a productivity coach doesn't mean I have it all together. We're all human. But the difference is that when we make a mistake and we're authentic and we know who we are, then we're able to adjust ourselves easier. And we're able to move forward. So we're able to take that mask off. When we take that mask off and we walk in the room and we are who we are, people that are going to love us are the people that are supposed to love us. Okay? So that helps with the energy around and helps us save time on not worrying about, oh, am I going to show up with the right outfit on? And are they going to like me? And maybe I should tell these jokes. And if that's not your style, be who you are. Because you want them to like you for who you are. Okay? We don't want false pretenses. Because we're not going to get anything out of that. It may feel good at the moment, but it's like ripping a Band-Aid off. Just do it, okay? So releasing that. Strip the roles and go back to that question, who am I? Who am I? Strip the roles. Strip all the hats that you wear. You're a mom, you're a sister, you're a daughter, you're a business owner, you are, you're whatever career you're in, you're a career person, you're a stay-at-home mom, no, strip all the roles and say to yourself who you are. Who am I? Okay, that's releasing the mask. Tip number 3. Are you a beer or a doer? Do you walk into a party and get caught up in the roles of what's going on? Oh, let me clean the dishes. I'm a helper. I'm a doer. I'm constantly doing. And it goes back to a story actually in the Bible about Martha and Mary. It's so me. I'm Martha. I'm in the kitchen getting everything done while Mary's sitting at Jesus's feet and they're talking. And Martha's missing all the beauty in the message because she is in the kitchen being the doer. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a doer. My Facebook Live went down. Okay, well, I'm going to keep recording here on Zoom. So what ends up happening is I'm a doer. So I walk in and I'm always doing. And I find myself, even at hosting my own parties, I'm doing. And why is that? Who am I? So I take a step back and I look at that. Why am I hiding? Am I hiding, or do I really like to do that? Or can that be done later and go out and socialize? Now, that might not be me. I like helping, but do I really like helping? And sometimes I find that I'm a doer because I'm uncomfortable in a situation, right? So I find myself doing instead of being present. Because if I'm present, then I have to be in the middle of it. I have to have a conversation. I have to do small talk or whatever that may be. And then I'm so worried because I've transitioned who I was as a doer that what if somebody needs me and I'm not going to be available? Does that sound like you? So what are you? Are you a doer or a beer? Now, we need both in this world. But the balance of being authentic around it is what's really, really important. So as I'm learning more about my spiritual growth, this word came to my attention a couple weeks ago at a youth ministry evening. Every Wednesday night we do youth ministry, myself and a couple other youth ministers. And this word came up and it was Fiat. Fiat. And Fiat means let it be. That's what fiat means. Let it be. So being authentic around your true self, let it be. Fiat. Okay? So as we review the tips on how to be more authentic, we have to unweb the circumstances, unweave them, be uncomfortable figuring out who you are. 2, release the mask. You don't have to show up as somebody else, okay? Release it. Release the roles and take the time and journal around who you really are. And number 3, fiat. Let it be. Just let it be. Be present in the moment. And sometimes you're going to have to be a doer, and sometimes you're going to have to be a beer. But knowing when that is going to allow you to understand who you are. So the question that I leave you today with, what will you do today? This is your challenge. What will you do today to step into your authenticity? Being true to who you are will help with the planning moving forward. So when you sit down and do your planning session, whenever it is, if it's Friday afternoon or Saturday or Sunday, but make sure you have a planning day in so you know how your week will be, so you're not putting out fires as much, you're actually showing up authentic, okay? Being true to who you are will help you in those planning sessions. It would allow you to own your space and get things done, right? Get things done. Own that space. And really setting your boundaries is going to help during that process. Setting your boundaries, learning how to do that. If you go out to my YouTube channel, there's a video that I talk about boundaries, how to set your boundaries. So if you want to do that, go out, subscribe. You'll see these videos pop up. And in case you can't get on Facebook Live, or if there's any kind of technical issues, they're recorded there too. You know, I really love working in this space. It truly fills my heart to help women be productive. Help women, not that we're not productive, okay, but help you do less so you could do more of what you love, and you could focus on being confident and no guilt while making what you deserve in a life that you absolutely love. So you could go out to my website and subscribe for notifications of when these Facebook Lives are. And if you go out to powerful-purpose.com/Facebook/, you will get on the list to get an email notification that I'm going to be on. And I'm on every Friday morning at 8 a.m. And I come to you sharing these tips of how to plan your life moving forward so it's exactly the way that you want it. And understanding that there are circumstances and there's seasons that we sit in that we might not be happy about. But these are the hinge points to get us closer to our purpose and our authenticity. So own that season, be there as long as you can. But remember, you need to move on to the next one if it's not a place that truly is dear to your heart. Oh, this is such a topic that is just so warms my heart, and it is really the basis of the self-discovery of figuring out who are you, who am I, is really important. Until next time, have a dynamite week. I honor that you're here and then you follow me. If I could do anything for you, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, pick your power word for the week. Set that foundation. Until next time, bye. God bless.